The guards for the Minnesota Vikings have been the point of much debate and consternation all training camp. Moving Pat Elflein to right guard, and then starting Dakota Dozier, or Aviante Collins. Those are your two choices. They're both bad. Seems like an analogy for something. Anyway, so with the piss poor showing on Friday at the scrimmage, that interior offensive line not looking great, concern is starting to grow, especially you look at some of the defensive interiors that the Vikings will be facing this season. So what is the plan? What's going to go on here? Is it going to be another lost season as you ride out year 4 of the Pat Elflein experiment, as well as, hey, Dakota Dozier, hey, we like him because Dennison likes him because he knows the scheme. Cool. But do the Vikings have ace in the hole? Aha. So we reached out to someone in the know, and we're hearing that Josh Kline is still firmly on the Vikings' radar, and he's still in play, and he could certainly be an option for the Vikings if poop does hit the fan. So now Vikings have sort of played this game before. To a degree, you look at Brett Jones last year, right? So Brett Jones last season was the highest graded center in all of football, according to PFF. Of course, that's preseason, but yeah. But he played great. Vikings cut him, so he missed the opening 53, brought him back after week 1, so they still had that veteran presence on the roster, even though they didn't have to guarantee a salary. They played that game before, right? So I think that could still be in play for Josh Kline, but a different version than that. Mainly, Josh Kline in this situation is those those axes that you see sometimes break in case of fire or emergency. Well, it's not an axe; it's a fire extinguisher. Doesn't matter. Anyways, if the Vikings, again, if poop hits the fan, if there is an emergency, break that glass and get Josh Kline's ass back out here, because Kline, frankly, was the Vikings' second best offensive lineman last year behind Brian O'Neill. He straight up was. So some background, he was a 2013 UDFA coming out of Kent State, was great with the Patriots, signed with the Titans, then eventually signed here last offseason, a 3-year, $15.5 million deal last offseason. Started 13 games at right guard, missed a couple of games due to concussions. But was absolutely legit last season. Had a 67.7 PFF pass blocking grade. Only allowed 22 pressures and 2 sacks. For comparison, Pat Elflein allowed 38 pressures and 8 sacks. And as we said, should Kline have been at left guard because he played left guard primarily at Kent State, as well as that's where he had his best seasons with the Patriots, and then put Elflein at right guard where he was All-American at Ohio State in 2015. But other than that, what reasons do you have to have Kline at left guard and Elflein at right guard? None of that, I have no opinion on it. But they approached him this offseason, kind of surprising, because he was only due to make $4.4 million base salary of the season, and they chose to cut him, even though they had to carry $2.667 million debt against the cap. So the cap that they freed up was about 1.7. So it was, it's something. I get it. If you're pinching nickels and dimes, I understand. But also, it's important that they approached him about a pay cut as opposed to a cut. So they clearly want him still in the sphere. They want him back on the team, but at a lower price, since they were starting to pinch pennies a little bit. Didn't get picked up in free agency, mainly due to the COVID, because teams couldn't bring him in for a physical. And if you do have an offensive lineman who's 30 years old, recently had some issues, mainly with concussions, like, you want to get that checked out. So I understand why teams shied away from Josh Kline. I understand why they went with other options in free agency, as well as especially the draft. So I get it. I fully understand why Josh Kline is still out there chilling as a free agent. But it's important to note, like I said, the Vikings did have interest in keeping Josh Kline just at a lower price. Now, obviously, if they bring him back, I don't believe there's any offset language, so the Vikings don't get to recoup some of that dead cap. I think that's gone because it was a previous contract. But they could bring him back after the season starts on a league minimum deal, and then it's not even fully guaranteed, and then just go week to week on that. But from Kline's perspective, I do understand this. Like, all right, so I'm not going to be on a team to start the season. I'm not going to get a guaranteed contract, as well as I'm probably not going to slide into a starting job right away. I understand that. But what's nice is I can skip training camp, which sucks. Training camp does suck. That's why you see so many veterans getting veterans days and whatnot. So he gets to skip all that, gets to let his body heal for a little bit, as well as he gets to see where opportunities are going to crop up. Now, obviously, the Vikings are the most likely scenario for him to return. Vikings have interest. Kline also has interest as well. But also, and there could be opportunity here because, Dozier, Elflein, Collins, maybe Ezra Cleveland, even though he should not be playing guard. Yeah, so massive opportunity here. But if there's an injury around the league, there's this, there's that. Hell, look at the Eagles. So they just So they lost Brandon Brooks. They signed Jason Peters, their all-time great left tackle, to play guard. And then their left tackle of the future, Andre Dillard, he goes down with a torn bicep. Now they likely have Jason Peters back at left tackle. So now they have a need at guard. So maybe Josh Kline goes Philly, which would suck because I really like Josh Kline. And then if he does that, I'd have to hate him with the fury of 1,000 suns. But here in Minnesota, I think that makes the most sense. He already had great success in the system and also has familiarity with, obviously, the personnel. So if Dozier and Elflein do struggle out of the gate, and they're not sold on Aviante Collins, and maybe they don't want to get Ezra Cleveland, just toss him into the pool at a position he's never played before, which makes sense, by the way. I mean, don't be shocked if Josh Kline returns. So I think that even though it was shocking that they cut him in the offseason, it would frankly be way less shocking for them to bring it back because it makes all the sense in the world, and they are still interested. So your thoughts, Josh Kline, back in purple? There you go. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.